Hello and welcome to the Business Standard Morning Show. I'm Kanishka Gupta and let's have a look at the stories for the day. Cyrus Mistry's death in a car accident has triggered a debate around road safety. Most experts believe that the business tycoon's decision of not wearing a seatbelt led to his death. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari has now said that the central government will enforce the rule that all travelers in a car, even those on the rear seat, wear a seatbelt. In today's segment, we explore how India can make its cars and roads safer.
Why do I need to wear a seatbelt if I am in the back seat? This question has once again surfaced following the unfortunate demise of former Tata Sons chairman Cyrus Mistry. The accident should serve as a wake-up call. According to the Central Motor Vehicles rules, those in the front seat or occupying front-facing rear seats must wear seatbelts. A failure to do so can result in a fine of 1000 rupees. But people are either unaware about this rule or willfully disobedient. According to an August 2022 local circles survey, 70% of Indians don't wear a seatbelt when seated in the car's rear seat. Against this backdrop, Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari said that the centre would now enforce the rule that all travellers in a car must wear a seatbelt. He said a penalty had already been decided for defaulters, regardless of whether they were in the car's front or rear seat. The minister was speaking at a conclave organized by Business Standard. According to Gadkari, the notification for the rear seatbelt mandate would be issued in a matter of days. Car makers too need to take note. Chances are you may have even come across cars where the seatbelt exists in the rear seat, but you can't locate the buckle to secure it in. That too will change now. The government will also mandate a feature in all vehicles wherein an alarm will go off if the rear seat passenger is not wearing a seatbelt. According to reports, the centre is also planning to ban the manufacture and sale of seatbelt clips and alarm stoppers, which act as a workaround to stop the seatbelt warning alarm from going off. Several online retailers sell these tiny devices that have a seatbelt locking mechanism that clips into the buckle, but the belt that actually braces the user is missing. This is doubly dangerous in the event of an accident, since the airbags may be inflated, causing even more injury to the occupants. It is the combination of seatbelts and airbags that ensures actual safety. The government has also been trying to make it mandatory for manufacturers to provide at least 6 airbags in certain vehicles. A draft notification to this effect had been issued in January. It was applicable to category M1 vehicles manufactured after the 1st of October 2022. This category essentially includes cars that can seat up to 8 passengers. However, more clarity is needed because when asked whether the government would make a minimum of 6 airbags mandatory from October, Gadkari's recent response was that the government was trying. The problem is that major automakers have been opposing the proposed rule. According to them, the industry's domestic capacity is not adequate for producing 6 airbags for each vehicle, and it will take a significant amount of time to increase capacity. Previously, Gadkari had also said that faulty detailed project reports for national highways have played a major part in eroding road safety. Now, the government has mandated training for all consultants who prepare detailed project reports. The recent spate of measures is heartening since India has been crying out for an intervention. Next only to US and Japan, India is ranked 3rd in road accidents, with 480,652 cases in 2018. These accidents claimed 150,785 lives, which was more than any other country. These were the findings of a report by the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways and the World Bank. Along with new and proposed safety norms, a combination of behavior modification and enforcement is the need of the hour.
If you go to WHO site and try to see where India is, when it comes to regulation on safety side, our roadmap is robust. we are one among the best now in terms of what today we have and what we already have planned. So whether it is 6-year back, whether it is NCAP, notifications are there. I think ministry is very clear. So the regime, and then you see a lot of regulation where enforcement is not there. But I tell you the difference between this regime called assist and alert and regulate and enforce. So in regulate and enforce, it will all depend on enforcement. And we have hardly 85,000 traffic guys on the roads to 1 billion of us. So somewhere we have to now fall back on the way other countries are doing is to assist and alert. So technology like ADAS, technology like speed, buzzers, speed alarms, technology like those front camera system, dash cam system. From industry, we are looking at that roadmap, and not for 1 year. Let's make a roadmap with the ministry, with all SIAM, ACMA, everybody put together. We have actually worked very hard to make those roadmaps.
Behavior design is a science, right? Designing a behavior compliance is a science, and you can create nudges. But if there is no reward and penalty and no ongoing nudge, then the behavior does not get ingrained. So what we are talking about is an alarm. So for example, nowadays you see cars which come to you with an alarm, and the alarm does not shut itself till you put the seat belt on. Now for the rear seat belt, there is unfortunately no such alarm. And you can take this alarm seriousness to even not starting a vehicle, because today the seats can realize whether there is an occupant or not, because there is such sensors are possible. So we know the cause of accident is speed, overspeeding, lane departure is a warning, aggressive overtaking is a behavior, and sudden braking is a behavior. Now, cars can now incorporate telematics in the car, which can send alert to say that the driver is driving in a risky way, or the behavior of the driver has either turned very aggressive or he is drowsy. Now, in developed markets, the insurance premiums are linked to not only driver behavior, but also the safety of the car. So if you are a very safe driver and your car has all the bells and whistles about safety or the serious equipment about safety, then your insurance premium can be reduced.
Existing technology has many solutions for India's road safety woes, including driver and passenger behavior. What remains to be seen is whether or not the government can prevail over the auto industry, which many believe has historically dragged its feet on introducing new safety features.
The government, meanwhile, is also busy dealing with the increased pension and social security bills. Like China, India too will have to grapple with the challenges arising due to the rising elderly population. The country's largest retirement fund, EPFO, recently backed the idea of raising the retirement age in line with Western countries to deal with it. Our next report tells more.
By the end of 1952, when the Employees Provident Funds Act came into being, the average life expectancy of Indians was somewhere close to 40 years. Over 70 winters later, it is about 70 years now. And with increased access to healthcare and better living conditions, the average age of Indians is likely to hit 80 in the next few years. While it is good that people are living longer, it is posing a few challenges before the government, which will have to spend more on social security and public welfare systems. It is against this backdrop that the Employee Provident Fund Organization, or the EPFO, has called for raising the retirement age. According to reports, the retirement fund body, in its vision document, argued for aligning the retirement age with life expectancy. The rationale here is that as life expectancy increases, in combination with lower fertility rates, the share of elderly population will continue to rise. According to a National Statistics Office report, the share of elderly in the total population is projected to reach nearly 15% by 2036. This means more people will be eligible for pension benefits and for a longer duration of time, putting additional burden on the state's exchequer and liability on pension funds. The central government spent nearly 1.98 trillion rupees for pension and related payments in FY22. All these factors stress on the need to prepare for an aging population. The Economic Survey 2018-19 too had floated the idea of increasing the retirement age. The survey said, given that life expectancy for both males and females in India is likely to continue rising, increasing the retirement age for both men and women going forward could be considered in line with the experience of other countries. Globally too, countries are mulling or have already raised retirement ages as a convenient and logical measure to cope up with an aging population. In the US, the pension benefit age is set to rise gradually to reach 67 for those born in 1960 or later. In the UK, the state pension age is set to increase for men and women to 67 between 2026 and 2028. In countries like Denmark, Portugal, and Italy, the retirement age is already linked to life expectancy. Germany is debating whether to increase the retirement age to 70. China has already confirmed that it will gradually delay its long-mandated retirement ages in the coming years. The official retirement age in India varies from 58 to 65 years, depending on public or private enterprise. In 2017, the government had increased the retirement age of central government doctors to better utilize the services of experienced doctors. So, should India consider raising the retirement age for other services as well?
I believe that this idea of raising retirement age is neither here nor there. Let me explain what I mean. The current situation in the labor market is the following: that of the 500 million plus workers in our economy, barely 9% have access to EPFO type pensions. Now, for an economy which prides itself for being the 5th largest economy in the world at market exchange rates and the 3rd largest economy by purchasing power parity, shouldn't we be thinking about ensuring that more than 9% of our workforce has some form of old age pension? The alternative is that not just the EPFO, but the Ministry of Labor should be thinking carefully about how to ensure that 91% of our workforce has access to formal employment.
Another view is that delaying the retirement age will restrict the employment of younger workforce. This is based on the assumption that the number of jobs is fixed. According to a report in the ORF, examples of Japan and Singapore can be considered that have better managed such situations by creating re-employment after retirement with different working hours and wages similar to part-time employment. Some jobs can be more demanding than others. For example, police or fire personnel might feel stressed working beyond a certain age, while physician doctors could work longer. Experts say raising the retirement age is only a part of the solution to prepare for an aging population. Creating more formal jobs and increasing the share of employees under the social net are the need of the hour.
commodity prices and easing of semiconductor shortages have put the spotlight back on auto ancillary companies. While the majority of them reported a margin squeeze in the June quarter of fiscal year 2023, analysts expect some turnaround from the second half of the year as commodity prices ease. Here is a report.
Despite auto ancillary companies clocking strong revenues in the April-June quarter of FY23, margins were under pressure due to higher commodity costs and logistics snarls. However, with prices of key raw materials used in automobile manufacturing cooling off amid economic slowdown concerns, analysts expect related companies to see some relief over the next couple of months.
We remain bullish on auto and auto ancillary stocks because of two main reasons. The first one is easing of semiconductor shortages, wherein during the pandemic, a lot of semiconductors were used by computer manufacturers or laptop manufacturers. A part of that production is getting shifted to auto, and thereby the semiconductor availability for auto companies is increasing, which is leading to higher production for auto companies, and which will in turn lead to higher production for auto ancillaries. The second reason why we bullish on auto ancillaries is the falling commodity prices, which earlier was leading to margin compression. Now with falling commodity prices, that pressure on margin should ease, and there should be some gross margin expansion. Both these things, including lower raw material costs as well as higher utilization levels, should lead to higher EBITDA margins for auto ancillary companies, which thus is positive for the entire space.
New launches and demand uptick post-COVID-19 too have sparked hopes for a revival in the auto ancillary sector. According to reports, around 10 to 15 new passenger vehicle launches are lined up this year. Separately, the government's renewed push towards road safety may benefit auto ancillary companies involved in manufacturing of safety equipment.
Two things. One is semiconductor chip issue getting resolved, logistics side issues getting resolved. And if I'm not mistaken, I was reading one report. In the next 4 or 5 months, you are going to have at least 16 or 17 launches from across categories. Demand for ancillary, will definitely go up. And the Honorable Minister, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, has also mentioned about safety features in the vehicle to be improved and taken to the next level. So I think auto ancillaries companies which are basically, involved with manufacturing all those kind of safety equipments and OEMs will be one of the top priorities in terms of focus. And not only from the new order market, but replacement market is also a huge market for auto ancillary companies, wherein a lot of people would want to go and buy or replace, whatever needs to be replaced in their vehicle in form of original equipment instead of buying anything from the local market. So the raw material input cost is also likely to go down, wherein you will see some amount of margin improvement in terms of profitability.
That said, higher inventory costs may act as a spoilsport in the near term. According to Ricky Kriplani of First Water Capital, despite minor relief in margins due to cool-off in commodity prices, we expect margins to remain subdued in the July to September quarter of the current fiscal year due to high inventory costs. We expect profitability to be visible from Q4 FY23 onwards. On the bourses, shares of auto ancillary companies like Automotive Axles, Bosch, GNA Axles, Lumax Industries and Varroc Engineering have surged up 36% so far this year. In comparison, the S&P BSE Sensex and Nifty 50 have gained over 1% during the same period. As regards today, investors will track the European Central Bank's interest rate stance. Besides, rupee movement, crude oil prices and FII flows will continue to guide markets on Thursday.
Auto industry is yet to recover from the effects of pandemic. Vaccines have played a crucial role in bringing down COVID-19 cases. Recently, the Drugs Controller General of India or DCGI has approved the country's first intranasal COVID-19 vaccine for restricted emergency use. Just a few drops in both the nostril will keep the virus at bay. Let us find out more about this vaccine.
The Union Ministry of Health
approved Bharat Biotech's COVID-19 nasal vaccine InCovac for emergency use in India on Tuesday. Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia announced the development on Twitter. With this, India will no longer have to depend only on the intramuscular shots that were available so far. But what are nasal vaccines? There are several methods of administering a vaccine. The most common is the intramuscular vaccine, where the shot is delivered into the muscle. In subcutaneous vaccines, the shot is delivered between the skin and the muscles. Vaccines may also be delivered orally, as in the case of polio drops. However, in nasal vaccines, the shot is sprayed into the nostrils and inhaled. Several viruses enter the human body through the mucosa. These tissues line the nose, mouth, lungs, and digestive tract. When it enters the body, the immune cells get activated and flock to the site of infection to stop its spread. In the case of nasal vaccines, the virus may be stopped from entering the body by attacking it at its point of entry. When a vaccine is administered to a human body, the B cells in the blood start churning out antibodies. The most important of these are called IgG antibodies. They search for the virus in the body and, with the help of T cells, destroy the infected cells. B cells, however, also reside around the mucosal tissues. When a nasal vaccine is administered, they form another type of antibody, IgA. IgA, with T cells, destroys the pathogens in the airway only. Also, they memorize the pathogen and prevent it from entering the body ever again. There are three main reasons why nasal vaccines are better than intramuscular ones. First, these vaccines reduce the administration cost as they do not need syringes and needles. Second, nasal vaccines can be easily self-administered. They do away with the dependence on trained individuals. Third, as the virus is not allowed to enter the body, the symptoms, if any, are mild. Bharat Biotech's InCovac will have a 2-dose schedule. The first dose would involve a total of 4 drops with 2 in each nostril. The second dose will have to be repeated within 28 days. The second dose would also involve a total of 4 drops, 2 in each nostril.
I'm backed by the nation's trusted bank, SBI, the banker to every Indian.
Dr. Gagandeep Kang believes that a nasal vaccine has a likelihood of lower safety events as it is going into a mucosal surface and it will likely be restricted. That is all for today. For more news, views and insights, please log into business-standard.com. If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.